Diego, great to see you again. Thanks for sitting down with me today.
Oh, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to share some talk with you.
So, as I understand it, URUPOV was established in 1994.
Yep.
You've got over 40 members. Can you give us a bit of a snapshot of the organization? Talk a little bit about why it was started and what the main reason for its existence is?
URUPOV stands for the Uruguayan Plant Breeders Association, which is a non-for-profit association. And as you said, it was created in 1984. By those time, the Plant Breeders Act or the National Seed Law was being discussed. Right. So our seed law is in force since 1987. So by that time, the breeders considered they need to be all together around one objective, that was to be part of these discussions on the seed law. So since then, we started growing as an association. The first goal was to represent breeders. But now we provide many services to our members around royalty collection, enforcement, and of course, representing them.
Right. So plant breeders' rights is a big issue around the globe, and I'm sure Uruguay is no different. What are the key issues, or what do you see as the key issues at plant breeders' rights as it relates to specifically to Uruguay?
Well, for Uruguay, plant breeders' rights is extremely important. Agriculture is the base of our economy, and so we depend a lot on varieties. Could be wheat, rice, soybean, forage crops, pasture legumes, and of course hybrids. It has been very important for Uruguay having good rules, good regulatory framework, and I think that is a good advantage. Although Uruguay is UPOV 78 like Act since 1987, we have made a lot of amendments and new regulations are in place, so we are closer to UPOV 91 than UPOV 78. So that has been a kind of a guarantee for breeders, either from Uruguayan breeders, but also we have many seed companies either established in Uruguay or given license to Uruguayan companies to represent their brands and their genetics. So plant breeders' rights for Uruguay is extremely important.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's seen as a secure place to bring your intellectual property.
Yes, well, I'm Uruguayan, so perhaps you can think I'm selling my country, but definitely if you see figures about number of breeders or number of varieties or evolution of the agriculture based on new varieties or biotechnology in place in our country, you can see that many companies have invested and relied. So I will say to your answer, yes, it is. It's safe somehow, and it's also stable. It gives kind of guarantee to companies to establish and make business there.
URUPOV was involved in creating I want to make sure I got it right, technology value system.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about how that works?
Yeah, actually it's a system that was developed there. I was part of this process. I joined URUPOV in 2002, so we created this system in 2003, which main goal is to collect royalties from farm-safe seed. Farm-safe seed for our major crops, soybean and wheat, is around 45% of the total area planted. So you can imagine a breeder selling their seeds, but in 2 or 3 years more they don't sell any more of those varieties because it's all produced by farmers. Right. So then we decided together, breeders decided we need to develop a system to collect royalties out from farm-safe seed, which today is a very successful system. So between certified seed and farm-safe seed, we can say that 90% of the area planted in Uruguay pays royalties.
What would you say, there's been a lot of changes in plant breeders' rights and a continued evolution, which is important. What would you say is the thing that gets you excited that you see coming down the pipe as it relates to plant breeding?
So, what excites me, you said? In South America, and I will say in this case, I'm talking about Uruguay, it's about getting the latest technologies. Right. So, which is about exciting is how can farmer get access to the latest technologies that are developed in other countries. Right. And it's nice to be part of this process, providing a good framework and guarantees to breeders to invest in Uruguay. It's nice to see how new technologies will come through these new plant breeding methods. So we have GM. So GM is very important for Uruguay. I will say that 99% of the soybean plant in Uruguay is GM, and 80% or 85% of the corn plant in Uruguay is GM. So I'm pretty sure also Uruguay will be happy to adopt these new technologies coming in. So it excites me a lot to be part of that. I like being involved in royalty collection systems. My last year I spent at the URUPOV was to design not only to collect royalties out from farm safe seed, but also from license holders. So there will be a mix of things, and we need to be prepared for these new technologies coming in.
So URUPOV gets involved in education of farmers. URUPOV gets involved in the monitoring of acreage within Uruguay, but it does not get involved in the actual compliance side of it. Is that true?
In the actual what, sorry?
Compliance or enforcement side?
No, we do enforcement a lot. So we have the National Seed Institute, INASE. So that is the body created by law in 1987. The National Seed Institute has the responsibility of enforcing the seed law. Right. But breeders want to support the task that INASE needs to do. Right. So we do a lot of enforcement activities, having a kind of a task force in field, developing technologies like using of molecular markers to identify varieties, use of satellite image to know where the seed is planted. Right. We have very important developments on software in order to cross information to identify inconsistencies of information to see if we can find illegal seed practices. Gotcha. So we do a lot of enforcement activities. And also, of course, we do some communication, because in the case of Uruguay, you need to understand we are a small country. So we have, let's say, between soybean and wheat farmers, around 5,000 farmers. So we almost visit them all, right. Visit face to face. So while you are visiting farmers to collect royalties, you are doing an important communication campaign, because in the dialogue you can listen, hear about their concerns, their complaints, but you can also have the opportunity to tell them about what germplasm is, what genetic gain is, why to respect the seed law.
Diego, it was I think 5 years ago now that I had a chance to come and tour Uruguay, and was, well, I will call a spade, I was shockingly surprised at the intricacies that have been put in place to ensure that these royalties are captured and that the value is maintained within the system. What have you seen grow other than the software package and the utilizing technology? Is there anything else that has been a leap forward in the program in the last 5 years?
Well, I will say one of the most important things is that the system that was firstly developed for wheat and soybean, now we have peas, we have oats, we have barley. So new species are getting on board of this technology value system. Now we are talking about the name in English, technology value system. It comes up to my mind, the Canadian process. They invite me in 2010 to a workshop where breeders, farmers, and the government to discuss how to move from 78 to 91. Yeah. And they like our system and the name of our system, because I explained it there, and I know that Canada has somehow started discussing these kind of things, which of course make us proud, but also give some support on, okay, I think we are on the right hands, on the right way. If other people around the world study our system, I think that it's good.
Right, absolutely, well said. Diego, thanks very much for the chat. I appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you very much. My pleasure.